All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good Monday morning. It is Robin, and I am so excited to be back on with my Facebook family, with my Instagram family, just my online family, period. It, of course, is the week of Thanksgiving. Yes, it is the week of Thanksgiving. And I have to tell you, your girl's already been dabbling a little bit in some Thanksgiving food. I am just not even going to try to fake it. My mother cooked a wonderful meal on yesterday, and it was like a pre Thanksgiving meal. And I did not do my celery juice because I knew that I was going to enjoy that meal. I was telling my brother that literally it has almost been a year since I have been drinking celery juice consistently. So I think your girl deserves a little treat. Not that I gave up, like, eating all the stuff that I love, but I did give up a lot of it and I cut back on things that I still wanted to keep in my diet. So, but this week, all bets are off. That's right. All bets are off. Your girl is going to enjoy Thanksgiving. So, super excited about that. But this morning, I had my celery juice. I most certainly did. I am not playing with that because I'm not going to gain 5 pounds this week. I'm going to, eat in moderation. So, I had a lot of greens and green beans yesterday, but I also had turkey. I really haven't been eating meat. I've been eating fish, but I did have some turkey yesterday, and it was wonderful. All right. And then my sister came to town and she brought some wonderful fudge, one of my weaknesses. So I enjoyed a little bit of fudge. And then a lot of you know that I have not been drinking sodas. And so I had some soda. So I'm not going to beat myself up because, again, it's been almost a year that I haven't had those things. So, a little, in moderation is not going to hurt anybody. So, I had a wonderful weekend. I will say that I had a little bit of sad news. A really good friend of mine earned her wings, and she is now home with the Lord. And so, those of you that follow me on my personal page, you know that I posted a video some time ago earlier this year about a friend of mine that had suffered, I think, like 2 strokes. And she had a miraculous healing. I'm telling you, she didn't lose her speech. She was able to walk within, a few weeks. And so probably the last 6 or 7 months, she'd really been fighting. But she ended up having another stroke. And so the Lord called her home. So keep her family, Don Myrie, keep her family in your prayers. That's her name. And so I'll be sharing more about her homegoing celebration, but truly an amazing woman of God, one of God's best as it relates to preaching and teaching his word. And I definitely learned a lot from her, and I'm going to miss her dearly. So that's my weekend. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Let me look here at the chats and see what you guys are saying on Facebook. Please share the broadcast. Let everybody know that I am on Let's Talk Church. I am on. It is 10 a.m. Thank you so much for the prayers. Thank you, Prophet J. Smith. I see you. I appreciate you sharing that prayer concern with me. So, you guys, I also have a praise report. I've been praying for my dad. He is such a trooper. I'm telling you, such a trooper. And his birthday was last week. So we had a wonderful time celebrating him. So I praise God that he was able to see 83 years. Yep, my daddy is 83 years young. Of course, my mother as well. She's 81. So, but we celebrated my dad's birthday last week. So praise God. I'm telling you, what a blessing to have both my parents here with me, not only just on earth, but in my house. Yes, I am blessed that I get to take care of them. I see them every day because they are right upstairs. Yeah. And so, as I shared with you, I have a lady now that comes in and she cooks and she does some cleaning, and she just, spends time with them so that I am able to work, because I do work for myself full time here in the house. And so, in order for me to do what I need to do, I needed to make sure they were covered. And so God opened that door, and I met an amazing woman, and she comes in every day to do that. So she's up there with them now. So anyway, so this week I am, of course, looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'll be traveling. I'll be working an event on Thanksgiving in Detroit. Y'all tell me it's not going to snow anymore on Thursday when I get to the D. Yes, because I am not for that snow. But duty calls, so I will be in Detroit with my Triumph family, working with them on Thursday. All right, so thank you guys. I see you sharing the broadcast and giving me some hearts and likes, and of course your prayers for my good friend. All right, so today I am going to be teaching, of course, from my new book, Wow Your Guess. You know, the headlines read just this weekend. I think it was Thursday, that an AME church in a suburb of Atlanta, believe it or not, there was going to be a copycat murderer. Unbelievable. You know, I was talking about and promoting the movie Emmanuel earlier this year. And of course, that was about the people being killed in the AME church, Emmanuel 9. And the shooter went into their Bible study. They welcomed him in as a stranger. And he went out during a break, came back in, and then waited. Such a coward. He waited until they were praying, their heads were bowed, their eyes were closed, and he shot them and killed, the 9 people. And so, unfortunately, some girl decided she was going to do a copycat murder. And she chose an AME church in a suburb of Atlanta. And thank God somebody caught on to what she was threatening to do. And she was stopped and, of course, arrested. And my hat goes off to the pastor, female pastor of the AME church, who said, we're still going to have church on Sunday. We're not going to let this coward, this crazy person try to stop us from doing what God has assigned for us to do. All right. So, hey there, Everett. I see you. God bless you. I was thinking about you over the weekend. I'm glad to see you on my live. Yes. But I applaud the pastor. And then, of course, I was on the news or watching the news. It wasn't on the news, but I was watching the news because, of course, I wanted to see the follow-up story. And sure enough, the news media was at the church on Sunday, and the pastor and the team had put some extra security measures in place as a result of the threat of this person. And of course, there was, no incidents. So I think that was, just thank God that nothing happened on Sunday. But it's a small church, and the person probably thought, with it being a small church, they wouldn't have protective measures in place. Well, let me tell you, regardless of your size, you need to have protective measures in place. And so today, that's what I'm going to talk about. Of course, my book is about visitors and guests at your church. And I do not leave out the importance of safety. How safe are your visitors? So that's the subject at hand. All right. How safe are your visitors? So if you've got my book, you can go ahead and open it up. I am teaching from chapter 8, Church Safety and Crisis Management for Visitors. See, it's important that we have this conversation because church visitors aren't familiar with your exit routes. Church visitors aren't familiar with additional rooms that they might be able to go to hide. Church visitors aren't familiar with what doors are even, or that the doors in the sanctuary, where they lead. And I would even go on records as to say that some members don't know where those doors lead. And so, a lot of churches focus on having security for the pastor, or to protect the offering, or to protect, the children's area, and even the parking lot. But typically, they don't put a plan in place for visitors. Yes, there needs to be a plan in place for visitors. All right. If you agree with that this morning, type a yes in the comment box. And those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you too can put a yes in the comment box. Thank you, Precious. I see you. Oh, good, Everett. I love it. I love it. Good morning. Good morning to everybody that is hanging out with me. I see you, Precious. Thank you so much for that. Hey there, Pastor Kimani Davis. I see you. God bless you. Glad to have you on. All right, Heather Jackson. I see you on. Thank you so much. All right. So let's talk about it. Church safety and crisis management. And then let me just go ahead and put it on here so that you can see where you can get the book if you don't have it. TheWearAgency.com/wow. Those of you watching on Instagram, TheWearAgency.com/wow. All right. Church safety is an issue that every church must address. Over the last few years, there have been several stories of horrendously violent acts that have occurred in churches. And of course, it was June 17th, 2015, when 9 people were killed at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. In March 2018, a woman was handcuffed and physically removed from a Dallas church. And in 2019, a teen was raped in the back of a church while service was occurring in the sanctuary. These acts have occurred and they could occur in your church. So one of the things that I talk about, there are actually 6 things that you need to consider as a hospitality, a first impression team member. Have we reasonably done all we can to help make visiting families feel safe while in our church? Have we reasonably done? Obviously, I know that you're not going to be able to walk your visitors through a drill of what they should do if something happens or breaks out at your church. But have you reasonably done anything to make them feel welcome, to make them feel safe, excuse me? So what's reasonable? Well, what about a chart, a schematic, a layout of your building that you frame beautifully, of course, but on your wall, and you put it even in the restrooms, you put it in the children's area. You could even, if you still do a bulletin, you could make it available in your bulletin, or you could make it available if you give your visitors a packet, you could make it available in their packet. And on that chart, it outlines, the layout of the sanctuary and the exit routes. It could also mention the safety route in the event of the occurrence of, some sort of, fire or active shooter or, anything that could hurt you, that could harm you. Here are the steps that we recommend. If it's a fire, get on the floor. People need to be reminded that when there's a fire, smoke rises. And so, you can't breathe. A lot of people die not from getting burnt up in a fire. They die from smoke inhalation. So you want to make sure that you do what we were taught in elementary school, and that's to go low. Get on the floor so that you can breathe clean air versus the toxic air that goes to the top. So you could put some sort of, infographic or just a 3 or 4 point document that you post on the wall that says what you should do for evacuation purposes in the case of an emergency. All right. Just, how prepared are you for the unthinkable? It's really important that your ministry adds this to your staff meeting conversation. Do we have a plan for internal and external responses? Now, those of you that took my church crisis webinar, thank you so much. Of course, I've got it available on my website. If you didn't get a chance to take it and you want to get it, yep, it is available on my website. Just go to the Ware Agency. And then, who are the appropriate people to execute that evacuation plan? Meaning, have you identified key leaders and assigned them to their respective areas and train them, inform them, practice with them the evacuation plan so that they won't panic? Because if they panic, everybody panics. Every time I get on a plane, and I fly a lot, they do the same drill every single time. And every airline does it, not just Delta, but every airline does it. And I would really believe that I think that every church should share this type of information. All right. Should you do it during every single service? Well, it could seem to be a lot, but don't we welcome people every single service? Yeah. If something were to happen, I believe that that would be one of the points that the opposing attorney would present to your counsel. Did you have an evacuation plan? How often was it shared? Where was it posted? Who was aware of it? How did you test to make sure that they were knowledgeable? Think about that. All right. Good morning, Bishop Logan. Glad to see you on. Hello there, Alonda Lambert. Glad to see you on. Good. She says this is great information. Thank you so much. God bless you. All right. Vanetta is on. Thank you so much. Glad to see you on. Good morning. And I'm not ignoring my Instagram folks, but y'all know your girl can't see that far. And I needed to make sure that you guys could see me. So I'm not able to read your comments, but thank you. I'll go back in and read them though, for sure. All right. But here we go. Not having a plan opens the doors to misinformation, to distress, and damage to your church. Again, not having a plan opens the door to misinformation. Let's talk about that. Misinformation. You do not want people out there talking about what happened and giving the wrong information. Secondly, distress. You don't want people in angst and experiencing anxiety because they're in distress about what happened. And then, of course, just the damage is very hard to recoup, to rebound, to communicate. Bad news travels fast, but it's really hard to get good news or updated information to travel at that same speed. All right. So make sure that you have a plan. Now, I would challenge you that every single leadership meeting this information is presented. I would challenge you that at every new members class, if you have a 6-week class, that you have a 7th class that is on evacuation plans. Yep. How do we communicate? Your communication plan, who those team members are. Walk them through the church. Take them in the sanctuary. Point out doors. You want to make sure that if something happens, that you're able to prove, no, we did everything that was reasonable. I don't believe that, people are going to expect you to do a walkthrough every single service. Even at school, you didn't do a fire drill every single day, right? You did it, but on a regular basis so that the odds were greater that you would catch more people. So do what's reasonable. And I believe it's reasonable to add that as a part of your new members or assimilation process. All right. So, but in the unfortunate case of an incident on your church premises. And again, for those of you watching, I'm reading straight out of my book. It's chapter 8, Wow Your Guess. I'm on page 96. In the unfortunate case of an incident on church premises, churches should hire a public relations specialist. Everybody type in the comment box, PR stands for public relations, PR, so that they can help you to properly prepare your statement, whether it be written, whether it be video, or if you need to set up a press conference so that they can walk you through how to host it. All right? It is not as simple as, I'm going to call the media and tell them we're going to make a statement and they just show up. You do not want that to happen. You want to make sure that you have a PR specialist that can guide you through that process. Just like in any area, there's an expert and you need their expertise so that you can get it right. All right? A lot is riding on this. What's riding on it? I told you, misinformation, distress, and damage to your brand. All right? So, all right, good. Talking about PR. So, you need a crisis communication team. This isn't something that you should take lightly. You really need to put a team together that can help you come up with your practices. And this team, page 97, should include the pastor or / CEO of your church or your organization, the executive pastor or the COO. You need someone from your marketing team and your PR team if you've got them, legal counsel, and then your ministry leaders. All right? That's your crisis communications team. You want to involve them in the conversation so that anything you might not have thought about that may reach a little bit further, they can bring it to your attention. Now, the actual, accumulation of the data, the preparation of the document, that can be done, on a higher level, the CEO and the marketing person and legal counsel, right? And then, of course, your, executive pastor or executive team. You don't necessarily need your ministry leaders when you're putting together the document. But then when you're presenting it, you want to bring them back to the table because it's going to be them that will be teaching it to the body. Now, you can, of course, again, share it across the pulpit. You can post it online. You can create videos. I love this when I go online and I see churches that have created videos that do things like teach you where parking is. Some churches don't have a lot of on-site parking, and so you have to park across the street, around the corner. You may even have to take a shuttle, whatever that process is, but creating some sort of video that walks you through that process. All right. Video is king. I told you guys that in one of my other teachings, that if you want to rank high on Google, that Google looks for fresh content, and fresh content meaning text, words, pictures, and videos. So that will help you increase your rankings on Google. So the type of crises, I'm not going to go through all of those. I go through about, yes, I will. Let me see, types of crises and appropriate preparation. I'll just do a few of these. Natural disaster crises. It's wintertime, right? So a snowfall for those in Detroit, you don't look at that as a natural disaster. A snowfall in Atlanta, that is a natural disaster, right? Because at the threat of a snowfall, everything shuts down. Everything shuts down. So establish a system and a plan to communicate updates. Of course, one of the easiest things to do is to get your local news channel to add your church, your organization, even your business to the crawl. Typically, they have like a running crawl along the bottom of their screen where they will list school closings and, church closings. Now, there's a process for that. So start that process now. Don't wait until there's a snowfall. and then try to call the news and ask them to add your church. That's not how it works. You have to call them in advance and ask them, how do we get on your church closings list? They'll send you the paperwork. What they do that to make sure that they have the authorized person for your respective ministry. And then they also give you a secret code. Yes. So when you get that code, only, you will be aware of that code. So when you call them or when you go through the process to inform them that your ministry is not having service, you have to give that code. All right. So, technological crises, meaning your lights, your microphone, your sound, your air conditioning, your heat is not working. Yes. Is that a crisis? It absolutely is. So create a communication system to inform, the pastor, the pulpit leader, the elder in charge, whomever, so that they can communicate it with the audience what's happening. Because you don't want to be in the middle of service, worship is going on, or the pastor's preaching, and the air goes out, and you got all these people fanning. I tickled that my pastor one time, we were having some issues with the air, and I thought this was really wise. He asked us not to fan profusely, right? Because we use the broadcast, we use the worship experience at Sunday morning service, and we air it on our broadcast. And so you don't want to watch on TV and then see all these people fanning. So you've got to have a communications plan in place so that you can keep people up to date. Another crisis, and I have about 11. Let me skip. I'm going to get one that will kind of hit home. Social media crisis. Oh my goodness. Social media crisis. Everybody type social media crisis. Someone with influence is trying to destroy the credibility of your leadership or the ministry as a whole. Just recently, Lizzo is a singer that I've become aware of. Can't tell you what she sings, but I like her because she's girl power. But she unfortunately went on Twitter and she put out the name of a delivery food driver. Lord have mercy. She has this huge following on Twitter, and she tweeted the company that the delivery food driver was delivering food for. And she told them, this person didn't bring me my food or took my food or whatever. And then she named the person. And of course, what you probably think happened, it did happen. That person was attacked online to the point that she has since filed a lawsuit against Lizzo because of the damage and the pain and suffering and anguish, mental anguish